there's so much research out there, actually, with why it's good for your brain. Physical connection and movement, any movement in space. But what's really awesome, and there's a lot of information out there for music. I mean, I feel like Harvard alone is doing a study every 3 months. I love them. It's like I can share it with the world. Like, thanks for doing all of this wonderful research. But for dance specifically, working with others in space, and then in the vulnerability of showing who you are and being creative within the structure. I mean, that's why I'm here. This is why I'm here today. I am a testimony of dance. I am a walking testimony.
Tell us why.
I believe that freedom, all freedom that I would ever want and have, is going to come through discipline. I think that no matter if you're talking to a software designer or a creative artist, the creative artist needs just as much discipline to be able to create art. All the greatest writers, they just sit down at a specific day and they write. They may use that information or they may not. And that discipline I got through dance. My time organization skills I got through dance. My self-confidence that I can actually do something and it's going to work, even though when I don't know what the heck I'm doing, came from dance. I mean, it's all come from my dance.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Amani Experience Podcast. In this podcast, you will experience wisdom, advice, and stories from creatives all over the world. Your host is Amani Roberts, who is a DJ, music producer, professor, avid book reader, and developing salsa dancer. On the show, we love to share the stories of creative professionals, especially people who've gone from the corporate life to the creative life. Once again, welcome to the Amani Experience Podcast.
Welcome back to the show. I'm going to introduce today's guest for everyone. So, today's guest, with the initial selfish benefits of surrounding herself with the raw honesty, wonderment, joy, and creativity that kids possess, she has grown the School of Dance and Music into the largest dance and music school in California, now helping students of all ages find their voice with 3 locations serving the South Bay. After she realized that she could use dance to unlock her own superpowers, I love that, she is now on a quest to help others do the same and find their key to unlock the potentially life-changing freedom within themselves. I would like to introduce to you Liliana Somma. Hello.
Hello. Thank you, Amani,
You're
for
welcome.
having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on it.
Oh, great. So, on our show, it's kind of focused on like people who worked in corporate America and taking a leap into going to pursue their creative ventures. And I know that very early on in your life, when you're like in your teens, you had a slight little experience with corporate America. And then you said, this is not for me. I'm going to go on my own. So maybe walk us back to, or talk to us about when that happened and your thought process in terms of starting your own school back in 1997.
Okay. Well, I will try to keep this short, but I've danced my whole life. I have actually the first few classes videotaped. Although I wasn't dancing, I was actually sitting on my mom's lap crying while my dad is videotaping me because I wouldn't actually take the dance class. So, but yeah, I've been taking dance, and I grew up in a very sheltered home, and I was most likely to become a nun when I graduated 8th grade, and just really shy. But I was always able to express myself through dance, and I started teaching because a tap teacher didn't show up one day to my class that I was actually taking, and the owner ran in and said, "Hey, can you teach for me?" And I'm like, "Okay, and that was the first time I taught, and I did it, and it was awesome. And I started teaching at the studio because they really enjoyed taking from me, and one thing led to another. And I got a gig at the country club in Manhattan Beach, and teaching dance there. Was still doing this in high school. Of course, my parents came from Italy, right? So I was supposed to be the doctor or lawyer. That's why they gave up, chilling out
Common
and
story.
coming to America. So, when I started college, I decided to do biochem.
Ooh.
And so, which I loved, honestly, it was great. And I was interning for pharmaceutical companies and, doing that thing. I did a lot of internships, dentistry. I was doing that on the side, but I was still teaching dance. Dance was the fun thing. And I was reminded of this from my parents. Remember, this is your hobby. This is your fun thing. This is not really something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. And, but at the same time, all of a sudden, I was like at a country club party, at a Halloween party, dressed up as Esmeralda. But she was like that other hippie princess, right?
Yeah.
From the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And a family was like, hey, do you do this like professionally? And I was like, dance with kids with my costume on? Like for my kid's birthday party. I was like, oh, yeah, totally. I wasn't really sure what she was talking about. And I'm driving home going, I guess I have to learn how to do like balloon animals or something. What did I even say yes to? And I started doing dance parties for kids. And so I had this dual thing going on. Okay, I'm studying. I'm going to do biochem. I'm going to go to med school. Maybe I'll do corporate life, or I'll do the dance thing. And so I temporarily opened the dance studio when I graduated, just so I can pursue dance professionally and I could have some income on the side. I told my parents, no worries. It's like just a year, but they still disowned me. But they love me now. They actually live right next door. That's a whole nother story, though. Big Italian family. That's for another podcast. But so that's really how I got started. That's really what I got. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
What made you decide to say no more to kind of dentistry or being a doctor, and I'm going to pursue this full time?
Well, again, it was a temporary decision. And in my mind, which is really funny, I think artists all have this part of them. I mean, it's really always, it's still temporary. I mean, it's really big, right?
20 years later.
20 years later, 3 locations, thousands of students weekly. It wasn't a decision. It was not a decision. I didn't decide this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Why are we supposed to decide what we're supposed to do with the rest of my life? I have lots of things I might want to do. There's lots of projects that I want to do. This is just a side thing. I love children. I love teaching. I'm just going to do this. And, if I change my mind, I can always go back to, bio or chem. I mean, I love reading about the universe and quantum physics. I mean, I'm totally a nerd still. That's part of who I am. So the answer is there was not a decision.
Okay.
There was not a decision. Yeah.
All right. What other kind of projects do you want to do in the future? What do you have kind of lined up to work on next?
I work on my life every day, and that's my project. My project is I'm trying to figure out who I am and what I want to do with the little limited time I have on this planet. So who am I? I'm a mother. That's a very big project. I love my children.
Massive project.
Massive project. I love he doesn't like me calling him husband because it's just a very stale word. So I call him my lover. He likes that better. Ladies, call your husband lover. They like it better. You can convince them to do things too. Much easier if you call them lover. That's a project. I love travel. That's a project.
Yes.
I just, want to contribute. I want to help people around me. So that's a project. Specifically right now, I am working with a company and I'm having fun creatively working on my very first book.
Good.
It's definitely a project.
Yes, big project. Congratulations.
Yes. I think I may be addicted to doing things that make me feel really uncomfortable just to see where it goes. Right?
That's the only way we grow. That's perfect.
Yeah. So that's my project, is living and enjoying life. I go to Italy every summer to remind myself and surround myself. I mean, I know there's people like this all over the world and on my very same street that I live on, but there's a lot of them when I go over there on this little island. And they don't ask each other what they do. They ask each other what they ate. What did you eat for lunch today? And they talk about it. They relive what they ate for like an hour later. And I love the love of life, or the dolce vita. of Italy. And I remind myself of this every day, as that is my project and everyone around me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you don't just go to Italy for 10 days. You go to Italy for a nice extended period of time. Talk to us about how long you stay in Italy.
Yes, I do go for a month or two. I did turn 40 when I took about 20. There's 20 people in my family, and I rearranged the whole, and friends actually that came with their kids. And it's just beautiful. And we took the bus, and,
nice.
we check out beaches, and we just live, and we just be.
Good.
And it's really fun. It kind of gives me the rest I need to come back to pursue maybe something else, some other project or some other part of me that needs to express itself. Because really I found that it takes a lot of energy to be able to express that one part of myself. And so I need that rest to be able to gear up. Yeah.
So I'm going to keep checking my mailbox and my email for my invitation because
Oh,
I want to go to Italy
you're totally
for a month.
invited.
I want to go. My brother's been, but I haven't, so I want to go.
Oh, you know what? Anyone can travel. With Airbnbs, and I mean, the way that you can use miles if you are a business owner, travel doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah, I'm ready.
There's a fun book out there. I forgot who the author is. It's called Vagabonding.
Okay, yeah.
I would start there.
Okay.
With the world of
Good.
travel.
I'll get the book and check for my invitation, and we've got another project to work on. Take Amani to Italy.
Okay, sounds
nice.
good.
So in your opinion, what's important for creative professionals such as you and I to succeed in today's business environment?
You have to blow people's minds. It doesn't even matter what you do. I was just given recently an opportunity a few weeks ago. I wasn't told until that morning that I was going to be able to speak. It was at an event that was live streamed with thousands of people. And listen, I'm a dance teacher. I'm a business owner. I don't really have a specific message, and I'm new into the world of sharing my message. And they asked the crowd, so who has a message? I raised my hand, and they had an application process, and they chose me. I get lucky that way, Amani.
More than once. I don't think I'm going to call it luck anymore.
I come home to my husband. I'm like, oh no, what the heck is my message? And I think that I'm going to go back to that message. And blow people's minds actually was not the message of that talk, although I do believe it, because that's what I did. I blew people's minds. People didn't even quite understand what the heck I said, but I was so excited that everybody woke up. They weren't looking around. They looked at me because they were wondering what the heck else I was about to do with my body, with my hands. I was totally doing 100% Italian hands, jumping up and down on stage. And people took notice of me. And I think that as a business owner, you need that one person who is your customer, your client, your student. That one person has to take notice of you, and they have to remember you later on that day or later on that week. And that's all. You can't think of the next marketing gig or whatever. There's so much out there that we're supposedly supposed to do.
True.
You just have to blow one person's mind at a time. And if you get them in a group, like in a big room, which I had, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have everyone in this room. How am I going to blow their mind? I did. I used physical jumping up and down. I used voice inflection where I started speaking slower and really quiet. And then I would surprise them, which is your hearing, your sight, all the senses. I made them laugh. So you have to blow people away. Good. Because there's a lot out there. You have to blow them away. So the question you would ask yourself is, how can I blow someone away?
Good. Okay.
I guess this is what I can only tell you my experience.
I love it. Please keep sharing for real. Now, for your dance studio project, since we're still going to call this your side gig. This is like, not your hobby, but you're still working on other projects. Mm-hmm. For the dance studio project.
Yeah, dance and music.
Dance and music. What was the turning point in your career?
The turning point comes down to I'd say there was 3, or really there's one. It's signing the lease.
Okay. For the first location?
It's signing the lease for the first location, because you put your name on a piece of paper that you are about to pay someone, some landlord, thousands and thousands of dollars every month. You don't know how that's going to go down. And then on the drive home, you realize, after people tell you, you're going to actually have to invest money to make it look like a physical dance and music school. Signing that lease is changed my path. Signing the second one not only changed my path, but it came with a whole new set of instructions. Running 2 locations, very different than one. Coming out of teaching all the classes myself and managing, totally different. Guess what? 3rd location, totally different than 2 locations. Totally different ball game.
Okay.
So those are my turning points.
Will there be a 4th location?
There's not going to be a 4th location at this time. I think having 2 children, 2 boys, and 3 dance and music schools makes me a really happy mother of 5 nice projects that grow
5
and
kids.
take me. I am pursuing a bigger project of being able to wake up all the families that currently come to the school and see what can we really do for this next generation of kids, how we really want to raise them, how do we wake them up away from the screens that they're in front of and enjoy humanity and that dolce vita that I see in the streets in Italy. That's really my next project.
Good. So why do we want to get the kids away from the screens that they use so frequently? I
don't think technology is bad. I'm in front of my screen, and I think technology is wonderful, and a lot of wonderful education is available through technology. But human interaction and connection is what brings you whole. It's what I believe it's why we're here. And so it's just to give them the experience and making sure that they're getting experience of life.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Good. So rewind. Where was your first, second, and third location? What was the first location you had for your dance studio?
Hermosa.
Okay. And the second one was?
Redondo.
And third is Manhattan Beach.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And so what was the time difference between the first to the second to the third?
Oh, there's complicated. The first one was actually a few doors down from where the Hermosa current location is now.
Okay.
And it was one studio, one dance room. You would walk in. I was teaching everything. The phone would ring, and I would not want to pick it up because I was teaching. And then we moved to a 2-room location where the Hermosa studio is now, right next door to this wonderful Vietnamese restaurant we used to eat at. And then they were going out of business. Actually, they were not going out of business. They were selling their business. So we had to buy a Vietnamese restaurant to add the 3rd studio at a Hermosa location. Then so that all happened. That was the first 10 years of business, I believe. No, six years in business. And then the 7th year in, I added the 2nd location. And then Manhattan is about 6 years old.
Oh, good. So
already.
Kind of a new baby, but yeah.
It is, yeah.
But now it's in first grade, so to speak.
Yeah, and none of this was not planned. None of this was planned. I don't think that anyone should plan. The trick is to pretend that you know what you're doing and say yes to something that there's truly in your heart, and your mind, you have no idea how you're going to pull it off. And then once you say yes, you have to do it anyway. So you give yourself the urgency and the uncomfortableness to do it, right? What I'm balancing is how many times I want to give myself projects.
Yeah.
But
that's legitimate.
But I do as I grow wiser and older. I'm hoping now that I'm 41.
Very young.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't get it twisted. Very young.
I'm 21. What are you talking about? I am careful when I say yes because I know that I'm going to go 150%.
Good.
But I do like to push the envelope on how many yeses I can fit and enjoy all the parts of my dolce vita life. How
do you work through the tough times? Because there's definitely some peaks and there's definitely some valleys in terms of business. How do you work through the tough times so you can still stick with it and continue to grow?
Okay, there's a lot of tough times. It was Manhattan was a tough time. My third location took 5 times more to construct than what was expected, and that was a surprise. And I think you just have to trust that everything is going to be okay. And I lean on that all the time. And guess what? Everything is going to be okay. There's always a way in and out of a problem. You just have to ask either a lot of other people that don't see the problem, because sometimes you're in the problem, you can't see the solution. Or you just have to just put yourself in a situation where you can not be so attached to the problem to see a way out. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I do a lot of personal development. I do a lot of energy work.
Okay.
I everything. I use music. I use oils. I use anything possible for all my senses to keep me lifted when I'm feeling down. Yeah. When that happens.
Tips or ones you use most commonly that you want to share with the audience?
Any tips or something that I use more commonly?
Or like maybe it could be things you listen to or just things that really have helped you consistently get through kind of the tougher days, weeks, months, if you want to.
Lately, I don't know here. I'm going to go into woo-woo California waters here, but I do a 5-minute energy meridian and chakra clearing every morning when I wake up, just to make sure that I'm all aligned. Whether this works or not, I don't know, but I sure feel better doing it. Donna, I got it from Donna Eden. And I think there might be a YouTube video. If there's not, I could give you a link.
We'll add it to the show notes. Yeah. Continue.
But it's just 5 minutes of stretching your aura and getting your chakras and meridians all in line.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I'm new to this world. I don't know too much about that world, but I'm very open-minded. I try anything and everything that's out there to see what works for me, and I do it for a while. And if it works, it stays. If it doesn't work, it goes.
Good.
Yeah.
Being open is very important in personal development.
Yeah.
Now, what's something that scares you?
Something that scares me? Like often?
It could be often. It could be professionally, personally. Like what scares you?
I don't think I have yet come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be here anymore at one point in my life. So, but I think that it's a big driving factor, is death, I would say. I'm just going to go big, Amani.
Yes, go big.
Death scares me. Not the process of death, but thinking, gosh, am I having the most fun that I could possibly have today? Because this is all, I'm not going to have this day again.
Right.
I probably think about that a little bit more often than most people. My husband told me that. Do you think about that all the time? I do think about that all the time.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's part of my nature. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's part of my nature.
Well, we want you to enjoy it every day, so let's try to, focus a little less on it, but I understand that.
I don't know. I would disagree. I think focusing on it more, again, it's not a negative thing that it's like a bad thing. It's just I think about it and it drives me to have a good time. It's an awareness. It gives me more of an awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Honest answer. Cool.
But it's scary. Yeah, it is.
It is, no doubt.
You're like, okay, we're going to move on from the death subject.
This could take up a whole hour with telling stories. So.
I tell the truth.
Yes,
I'm here to tell you the
that's
truth.
all we want. We just want the truth. Definitely. In your industry specifically, it's really, really crowded. There's numerous dance studios across the world. Mm-hmm. What do you do to make sure that you kind of rise above all the noise and all the other competition out there?
All I can do is think about that one kid in that one class. That's all I can think about is that one kid in that one class. And the best way for me to connect with that one kid since I'm not physically there, is through my teachers. So we go through, I would say, 80 teachers before I even give anyone the opportunity to come through my doors to represent who I am.
What's that interview process, screening process
Interview
like?
process, I do group interviews. I hold an assignment. I'm going to give away the secret sauce right now. I give an assignment in my ad. Most people that respond to ads respond to a whole bunch of them. So you give an assignment in the ad, and so 80% of them will miss the assignment. So they're not having an attention to detail, right?
Oh, so bad. But
I
keep
know.
telling. Go on. This is great.
And then I get everybody in a room just to tell them who I am, to sell them on who I am, to see if this is the place for them. Oh, no. I'm going to tell you more secrets. And then I tell them I'm totally okay whether you like to work with children or if you like only working with the dancers that are already older and you just want to choreograph. Because most people in LA just want to work with the older ones. And I find out the truth. And I hire those that really, truly love all ages. And they understand that dance is not just the skill of dance. You're teaching these kids how they're going to navigate through life, how they're going to use discipline that they get and the structure they get from dance to use that discipline and structure in their career, in their family, home, in their personal life. It's way more than just dance. And so I find those special people and those leaders, and I let them share the vision with me.
Cool.
So
Right.
that's what I do.
Thanks for sharing the secret
And
sauce.
music. And
Yes.
music.
Yes. I like how you said that you use teaching dance for more than just learning how to dance. Kind of explain that more. Tell us more about how, and maybe an example of what you've shown a kid or someone. How have you helped people?
You're asking, there's so much research out there, actually, with why it's good for your brain, physical connection and movement, any movement in space. But what's really awesome, and there's a lot of information out there for music. I mean, I feel like Harvard alone is doing a study every 3 months. I love them. It's like I can share it with the world. I'm like, thanks for doing all of this wonderful research. But for dance specifically, working with others in space, and then in the vulnerability of showing who you are and being creative within the structure. I mean, that's why I'm here. This is why I'm here today. I am a testimony of dance.
Tell us.
I am a walking testimony.
Tell us why.
I believe that freedom, all freedom that I would ever want and have, is going to come through discipline. I think that no matter if you're talking to a software designer or a creative artist, the creative artist needs just as much discipline to be able to create art. All the greatest writers, they just sit down at a specific day and they write. They may use that information or they may not. And that discipline I got through dance. My time organization skills I got through dance. My self-confidence that I can actually do something and it's going to work, even though when I don't know what the heck I'm doing, came from dance. I mean, it's all come from my dance.
Yeah.
Career. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I agree. You know, so much of what you said applies. Being a DJ, you have to be very disciplined, and you have to be structured and focused. And I grew up as a saxophone player, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. So talk to us about maybe how a failure or an apparent failure has set you up for later success, and maybe share, do you have a favorite failure of yours?
My favorite failure, Amani. What a wonderful subject.
We're going to get to the happier stuff soon, too. We have to go back and forth like a tennis match.
My favorite failure, I can go many ways with this one. I would say was focusing in the beginning too much on my wonderful, passionate side of growing a business And I did lose sight of making sure that I had time for all the different parts of my personality. That's why I think right now it's such a big thing for me, and part of my message is because there were years and years where I wore too many hats, and it's very easy for any artist to turn something that you love into something that is overwhelming and not fun anymore, because there's actually only so much time in a day and you can't do it all. And so I think when I was teaching 40 plus hours a week, and I was managing 40 plus hours a week. And I mean, I was working 20 hours a day. My health, did go, and my joy, a little bit of that fire did go out. And so what I got from it is it really had me look at my life and find out that I need the balance. And that's when I really started spending money, educating myself, and buying books called like The Joy of Not Working. And, looking at, it's okay to have time to do a hobby or go outside and lay out in the sun, which I gave myself that freedom when I was on vacation with my family growing up, because they used to take us in Italy. That's why we go now, to continue that tradition. But I did fall in that trap. I fell in that trap because even something that you love, it could be too much.
Right.
And so just keeping it in check is really important.
True. So how did you get out of the trap?
I got out of the trap first by realizing that I was in the trap, because it's hard for you to realize that you're in the trap when you're a workaholic.
Yes, very true.
Anything holic, you're just like in that world. And I got out of that trap because I was open for help. I was open. I had my realization happen first, and then I just researched the hell out of books. I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I have hundreds and hundreds of books.
Good. We're going to get to the book conversation in a minute, but yeah, good.
Yeah.
So just kind of learning, first self-awareness, realizing that you're in it, and then learning and figuring out a way to...
Finding mentors, very important. Surrounding yourself with people that were successful. They were passionate about what they were doing as well. 150%. But they had the balance that I wanted. And so I was like, okay, this is my new project. And I found out he'll help you do even better and give you more passion to keep on going with all of your projects if you give yourself a good balance.
True.
And that it exists. And that balance is different for everybody. Some people don't believe in balance. I have a lot of friends and they're like, no, I don't believe in balance. But they are really, they are balancing. They just are balancing in a different way. They would rather just, be immersed. Especially artists like to be immersed maybe with 2 or 3 days in their cave. And then they need 2 or 3 days not even thinking about it. So the balance is different for everyone.
Yeah, balance. I remember the Karate Kid scene when Mr. Miyagi's like, balance, Daniel-san. Doesn't sound familiar?
No, of course I know Karate Kid. What's up with that?
Just checking. What advice would you give people who are looking to find some quality mentors? Because you said that's one of the main things that help you get out of your trap. How would you advise someone if they're looking for good mentors?
Oh, gosh. I'm so subjective right now to this, Amani, right now, only because I've recently been part of Mind Valley. And what I like about Mind Valley is that there's an author. You want to learn about the woo energy stuff? You can find an author about it. You find an online course, and I can take it anytime I want. Meditation on there, business on there. It's the newest platform that I'm currently using right now. So depending on when you ask me that question, I would give you a different answer. But I currently am taking a course right now.
So you're finding good mentors on Mind Valley then?
I am, yeah.
Good.
But you know what's fun about finding mentors sometimes, even though some of them are authors? When I read... for example, let's go really old school. Like before I opened my second location, I actually watched The Matrix. It wasn't even a book. I just watched the character Neo do anything. I was like, let's do it. But sometimes if you read a book, those authors are a lot more accessible than you think.
Right.
Accessible. There goes my Italian English thing. You just reach out. People... I had someone reach out to me 2 weeks ago and they said, Liliana, I don't know you very well, but I really want to do exactly what you do. Will you be my mentor? Yes, call me. You can do it.
to have the courage to reach out to someone. You never know what they might
Just
say.
reach out to people.
Yes, great advice.
People want to give back if they've done something that they feel like they've learned something from.
Good. Let's go back to when it was 21-year-old Liliana
Yep.
and see where you were.
It
And
was really cute.
you're still really cute
Oh,
there. Don't
thank
say
you.
don't do current tense. So
I
we're
know
going to go
I'm
back.
cute.
Yes.
I know I'm currently cute. I'm just saying I was really cute.
So you're really cute back then. So if you're sitting with yourself in a coffee shop,
yeah.
what advice would you give yourself, your 21-year-old self?
Stop drinking so much Diet Coke. It's bad for you, and it's killing your small intestine. Please stop drinking so much Diet Coke. Would be my first advice.
Okay, good. Relevant advice. Keep sharing. Keep on.
Not to stress out so much about like whether something's going to work or not, because it's totally going to work, and all of your ideas, every single one of them are the bomb, and they're all going to work, and they're going to be freaking 1,000 times better than you even think that they're going to be now. So just don't worry about it. Just go for it. That's what I would tell my 21-year-old self.
Okay, no Diet Coke. Don't stress out. And what else? Anything else? A third piece of advice?
Well, the don't stress out, but to go for it.
Right.
To go for all of it.
Yes.
Don't pick one. People lie to you. Don't believe anyone. Even if they have a book or 3 bestsellers, don't even believe anything that they say. Just believe the things that you like that they said, and then keep everything else for someone else. Just take what you like and just believe what you want, and everything will work out.
All right. Great advice.
Do you like that one, Amani?
I love it. I love it. That might be the lead-in for the show.
Oh, goodness.
What is one new habit or 2 habits that you've added to your daily routine in the past year or 2?
I started taking enzymes when I eat.
Oh, okay.
It's been, I guess we have less enzymes as we age. So I've been taking enzymes when I eat. Been doing, well, the biggest habit, to be honest with you, I've been doing is my daily energy routine.
Right.
I told you, but the second one is I've been doing brain training, neurofeedback. It's called alpha theta training. So they wire you up. There's a great place. I don't mean to plug this, but I mean, it's in Culver City. It's with Dr. Andrew Hill has it, and it's called Peak Brain. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. They plug you in, and you get to stimulate different parts of your brain. And I cannot tell you the ideas that have come to me during that session. I cannot even begin to explain it to you, Amani.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm just using technology, but that's the new habit. I feel like I just,
nice.
It's the best thing ever.
How'd you find out about that? What's kind of the general cost? That's really interesting.
General cost. I think it costs about like it would if you were to go get a massage or anything that's out there
pretty
that's
affordable.
one-on-one.
Nice.
And I don't think they let you do the alpha theta. I'm going to get in trouble right now. Dr. Andrews going to be like, don't tell people about alpha theta. They want to do more, usually high CEOs and athletes, star athletes. They know about this kind of stuff, and it increases your focus part of your brain. And so there's the opposite of alpha theta, but of course, I'm like a rebel at heart. So I walk in there, I'm like, okay, dude, I know my husband was signed up for it. I'm like, you're not going to get smarter than me. So he's like, do you want to do it with me? I'm like, yes. So we bought a 40 pack of 40 sessions, and you have to do the 40, and it permanently changes you. It's not like you have to go back and do it.
Right.
It's a one-time gig. And I started looking into being able to be connected like to that feeling of like meditation or high, like just the universe in general, and 40 years of Zen. I know Dave Asprey also just opened Bulletproof Labs in Santa Monica. They have something similar, but I just was like, I want to do alpha theta. And they're like, no, you don't want to do alpha theta because it's opposite of focus. It's like you get too creative and you're kind of all over the place. I'm like, I want to be all over the place. I want to talk to my higher mind. I want theta, baby, theta waves. This is like the nerd Liliana coming out, right?
We love the nerd Liliana. We love all Liliana, but the nerd Liliana especially.
The alpha theta training is one of the best things I've done.
Wow. That's fascinating.
It's for any creative individual, I would look into it.
Definitely. We're going to have to look into that. That's great. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's super cool. I'm
Super
gonna
cool.
go online right now and check it out.
Yeah. Tell. I think you can actually tell them that you know Liliana
Okay.
and get a 10% discount.
Okay.
And if not, I'll make it happen.
Ooh.
Really, for real.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll segue into books because you read a lot. I read a lot. If there was 1 or 2 or 3 books that you think everyone should stop right now and read right away, what books would you recommend?
Well, my book, of course. What do you
Okay. Good. Besides that, I love a self-plug, but besides your book.
My book isn't written yet, though. But if you want a copy of my book,
a pre-advance
email
order.
me directly and I will get it. I'll get it to you. Because I'm taking everything that I've ever learned in personal development and business and just chopping it up in simple, tiny, bite-sized pieces. So are you just taking a
We're doing
video?
Instagram stories right now, too.
Instagram.
But keep going. Talk to us about books.
That's it. Okay, so that would be my first book. Another book would be The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani.
Okay, tell us more about that.
The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani was, I read about 1.5 years ago, and it's just talks about our culture and how to set yourself apart from what's going on and to really make an impact to actually change the world to be a better place. And I really recommend it. That would be my, if I were to tell you one book, that would be it. He talks about this awesome thing being, I wonder if I could say this. I probably can't say it.
You can say it.
I can?
Yeah.
So it's unfuckwithable.
Okay, yeah.
And I love that word because it's like, I'm going to do this and you just need to get out of my way and be okay with who I am. And, yeah, that's what I would say.
Cool. Great book recommendation.
I also just finished a book last night called Stealing Fire.
Okay, who's
by
that
Stephen Kotler.
All right.
And that's a fun one.
Nice.
Actually, they talked about the brain training in that book, and I had already just finished it, and I was like, that is awesome.
It's like serendipity.
It was serendipity.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see here. Before we finish, we're almost done.
Awesome.
But tell people how they can find you online. Like, where do you live?
Online.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
It's funny because social media, actually, I have never used social media to build any of my businesses, which people are shocked. They look at me, especially the software internet gurus. They look at me like I'm an alien from from another planet. What do you mean you don't use Facebook? I'm like, yeah, actually, I just joined Facebook personally 1 year ago.
Okay.
Because I was at a party with a whole bunch of international friends, and they were like, well, how are we going to connect? And so I just joined Facebook. It'll be my year anniversary in November.
Good.
So you can reach me at Liliana Somma.
Right.
SOMMA.
And your schools are online as well,
So
right?
then I started Facebook with my schools, but that's also new about 1 year ago. But we are having a little bit more fun online actually lately, and I'm testing to see if the social media is a good thing for me. Again, I'm not going to believe something just because everybody is doing it, because everyone is different. And so we'll see if we have fun with it. But yeah, the School of Dance and Music is on Facebook and on Instagram.
And tell us your website.
schoolofdanceandmusic.com.
Perfect. Good. So we're going to get out of here. But before we go,
yes,
any last words of wisdom or advice for the audience out there? You've been a great guest sharing. We love your transparency. I got to give Liliana a shout out. She allowed me to have my first DJ camp at one of her schools this summer. It was very successful. So we're looking forward to doing it next summer. But I appreciate you opening up your doors to me. It was great. The kids had a great time. So thank you.
Yay.
First of all, I really appreciate that and love working with you. And I respect your hustle. So definitely keep it going. Very inspiring.
Yes.
So what other words of advice or wisdom do you have for us?
My last thing is there's a lot of people waiting to do something that they really want to do. And they keep looking for the details. I need to learn how to do this one more thing. I need to figure a little bit more about this. Really, you don't need to know what you're doing. You just actually have to do it. And better yet, the best thing is to have an event and tell everybody. Use the social media and the Facebook and the Instagram. Use all of that. Tell people within 30 days, get your calendar, circle a date on the calendar of I actually have something that I have to disclose. It's really important. I need you to come to this event. I'm going to disclose it in front of everybody. And you don't even have to tell people what it is. And you don't even have to decide what you're going to disclose until that day before. And if anyone asks you, you just tell them it's top secret. Whatever idea it is that you are trying to do, have an event, invite a whole bunch of people that you know, and disclose what it is that you're doing. It could be a hobby, idea, business, and hopefully it's a hobby, idea, or business that's going to make the world a better place. Because if it's helping someone else and bringing them to a higher vibration, helping them be more human, then you are doing a disservice to all of us that you haven't done that yet. So take the first step. Go for it.
Cool.
And invite me. I want to come.
We'll reach you. We'll invite you for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Amani.
You're
this
welcome.
was really fun.
Thanks for coming or being on the show, and we're going to get you to come back once your book is done.
Yes, I'd love to.
All right. Take care.
Okay, you too.
Thank you for listening to the Amani Experience podcast. You can check out the show notes on amaniexperience.com/podcast. Please remember to leave us a review on the platform you are listening on, and share this podcast with anyone who you feel would benefit from listening. See you soon on our next episode.